What I'd like to do with you now is create a chart which summarizes all of the conic sections and their formulas. So you know the circle has the formula either x squared plus y squared equals r squared if it's centered at the origin, or x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared if it's centered at h comma k. The comment that we want to make here is that you've got x squared plus y squared where you have the same coefficients, either in front of the x squared and y squared or in the denominators beneath them. For the ellipse, moving down to the next row of the chart, we're going to have x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k quantity squared over b squared equals 1. Now I've drawn it with a squared under the first denominator, but actually a squared is the larger denominator. That's key to recognize. Second thing I want to call to your attention is that again we're dealing with x squared plus y squared, but this time we have different coefficients, and that's what separates the circle from the ellipse. And finally, c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared when you're trying to find the foci. And let's add one more thing. The foci are always on the major axis. Probably the other things that you might get confused on are the definitions of A, B, and C. C is equal to the distance from the center to each focus, or to the foci. A is the distance to the vertices, and B is the distance to the endpoints of the minor axis. Sorry if I'm running out of space and into the other block there. It's kind of hard to type this into one column. When you move on to the hyperbola, as you know, we've got two different formulas. When it's opening left and right, x squared is first, and you have x minus h squared over your a squared minus the y minus k quantity squared over the b squared is equal to 1. When it is opening up and downward, then the y fraction is first, and it begins with y minus k quantity squared over a squared minus the x minus h squared over the b squared equals 1. So the thing we really want to call to attention here is that a squared is not the larger denominator. A squared is the first denominator. The hyperbola separates itself from the other curves because it is x squared minus y squared, or y squared minus x squared. And when you're calculating c, use c squared equals the sum of the denominators, a squared plus b squared. Now for our summary for the parabola, we've got two different formulas. If it opens up or down, then it is a function and x is squared. So we have x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. And if it opens to the left or to the right, then it's not a function and y is squared, and you have y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. P, by definition, is the distance from the center to either the focus or the directrix. Okay, and we also want to know that absolute value of 4p is the length of the latus rectum. And that should be the clues you need to really help you through this chapter and keep these shapes separated in your mind.